Hello everyone. Today we are going to be looking at a few new features from our latest point release, Liberty version 5, build 8.21. The real star of this release are the changes that we've made to search, also known as OPAC. And some of the wonderful changes we've made, especially around information boxes, may affect your OPAC, so I'll try and identify those as we discuss them. Then we'll take a quick look at a couple of other features, including a long-awaited change to managing tags in cataloging. So, off to our changes in OPAC. The first thing that you might notice is that the search box is in a different place and much larger. This is an option controlled by parameter. This is a new view that you can do using the search box. If you take that option, it affects two things: the size of the search box and the action buttons, and also the left navigation options are slipped here underneath. There are some other decisions you make if you decide to go in this direction. One is that you can upload a graphic. If you look at this green tile, just for this size, this is actually the image that was uploaded, and then it repeats. And that's the sort of thing that shows very well behind the new search box. And the final thing is that if you are using a banner, which typically appears above here, it is an option to include that on this screen. So one other thing I want to point out before we go anywhere else, because we're going to be talking a lot about information boxes, is that the Contact Us information box has nothing up above that phrase. And I will come back to that in a minute, but I wanted you to see how this looks from an end user or an anonymous login. But let's do a little bit of searching now. And you'll see another change. First of all, our banner is back, and our left navigation is now moved left again. But you see that this is defaulting to what are called tiles. It is the same information that you define in the regular list display, so that if you are using reviews and you have chosen this as your image for a particular kind of bib type, all of those things are now packaged in a tile shape with the image having the focus. So if you've uploaded images, if you've hooked into the Google free images, this might be a nice option for you. Your user is able to determine if they prefer the list mode or the tile mode. The new parameter that I'm going to show you in a moment has all to do with which you set as the default. So let me log in. And let's go over to the staff side. And here in our parameters under management, you'll see that here in search display options, we have some new parameters near the end. So the first is, do you prefer tile or list as your default? This is the option that says, please flip to the new look with the large search box. Here is where you would upload a repeating image if you wanted to do that. And finally, this is where you control whether your regular banner displays once you have gone to the alternate view. So those are the new parameters that take care of those options. Back again to our OPAC. You may also note that we've added text to all of the action buttons, so they are not just icons anymore. But the majority of the work that is here in this release has to do with the information boxes. So let's have a closer look at that. The first thing I asked you to notice when we were not logged in was that this seemed to be the top of this particular box, and it is in display, but notice that it does have a banner called Help, and we've marked that that banner is hidden. I'm going to show you in a minute a wonderful enhancement we've done to help you position your information boxes on your welcome screen. But each box has to have an official name, if you will, and the banner is required now, but it doesn't need to be displayed. So if I wanted to move the position of my boxes around, all I'd have to do is use the new Position Information Boxes button. And you will see that all of the information boxes that I have in use are available now for positioning. So you can move things all around. You can add columns in. You can remove columns. Notice that in this display, all of the boxes are the same size and shape. That is an option with Liberty to have a more grid-oriented setup. But if you allow boxes to expand or contract for the content, the reposition will still look this way. You'll need to look at the live screen to decide what makes sense in terms of the position of your boxes. But what could be easier than this to decide where things belong? The next topic that I want to talk about is the new menu. So rather than just an edit or delete, we have a menu. Yes, we do still have edit and delete, but we're also giving you some tools to manage branches and on which branch this particular box would display. And this is a point that will affect you possibly when you move up to this point release. So if you are used to making information boxes, you were probably trained that your first step was to come here and see which branch you were working with, and often to pull this down and choose something called default, or sometimes it was shown with pointy brackets. And the point of doing that was so that if you did work on an information box, it would automatically be available to all of the branches. Well, we have done away with that because we've improved the way branches are managed. But what that means is that you may have an information box that was affiliated with default that you weren't seeing, but in the upgrade, we would automatically set anything that was in default to all of your branches. So if you see a few information boxes that are old relics, all you have to do is come to them and hit delete. And you may want to change your branch view to make sure that all of your welcome pages are clean directly after you move up to point 21. So how are we managing branches? Well, in this case, I'm going to say that I'd like to manage branches for this information box. And I can come here into the information box and determine that this box will display for my branch, Lawson's, or all branches, or a selected branch. And I will get a drop-down list and I can decide which branches should have this box included. Pretty straightforward, pretty clear, no under the covers need for finding out what is making things function the way they are. It will all be on the screen for you. Additionally, you can also copy this particular box to another branch. So once you decide a box is what you want, and you might want it on some branches but not all branches, or all branches, you can use this option. Now I want to talk a little bit about the slideshows. We've also changed the way in which slideshows are maintained. I think that this will be much more intuitive for you. This is an example of a slideshow where you have different content in the same geographic area. The speed of the flipping is controlled by a parameter, by the way. And this is already a slideshow. I can edit the slide I'm on, or I can add a slide, which will just give me an add new information box, or I can edit the whole slideshow. What this will show me is that this slideshow is using these 2 slides, and that, oh, by the way, I have 4 other slides on my information boxes that could become slides in my show. And if I move them over, I can also position which ones will show in what order. And as I've hopefully made you aware, you can also designate if this slideshow would be available only for your own branch or all branches or for selected branches. This idea that you're also seeing here, let me show you this menu again, of revert slides. This has to do with a given slide being taken out of the slideshow, so it wouldn't be part of this rotation, but would appear again as a separate and standalone slide. So hopefully this will really allow you to easily move slides in and out of your slideshow and to share it with the appropriate branches. Now, let me edit this one more time and I'll show you a few other things that we've done. First of all, often you're building an information box and it's not quite ready for prime time, and there were some creative things people did to work on that without it being public. We've made it simpler. You now have an enabled or not enabled, so if it's not enabled, you can work on it and staff colleagues will see it, but OPAC only users will not. And this is the button that allows you to assign the name to the new box, but also allows you to not display it again to OPAC users. So those are a couple of other enhancements we've made. And we've also allowed, when you add information box, now it's more like a wizard. You actually designate the kind of box you're going to create, and that will then control the fields. So if you choose book carousel, for example, you'll be offered the relevant fields, so forth and so on. The one new type of box is image. Now, we have managed images in information boxes as an automatic thumbnail in the upper right-hand corner, or you could link to a larger image and play around with it a bit, and you could fill the screen. But we've now created an information box type for images. So if you choose that, I'll show you quickly how to make one. So we know it has to have a banner, and this is going to be Desert Adventures. The image text I'll come back to in a moment. We do still have the image upload, but this time, because the type of box is an image box, it will fill the whole screen. So now that that image is uploaded, I will do 2 more things. I will give it some text. Let's just say click on this image to see more. And as usual, because of rich text, I can make it bold. I can decide that it will be blue text. I can increase the size a bit. You'll see how this will appear in a moment. And I also want to set up a link so that when they do click anywhere on the image, they will be taken to another site. So let me just, I have that link elsewhere. Let me just copy this in so you can see how this will work. And then I can save my new information box. So it will appear here. There's my image. There is the text that I asked for. You can see that it's dark blue. I could also have moved it down within the text box. And then I can just click anywhere on the box and go to the website I was seeking. So that's an example of how to create the new image type boxes. And we have one more cool thing that we've done to allow you to put more on your welcome page. So I'm going to go actually over to resources, and I'm going to look for a recent edition that I want to showcase. So let me just look for this. So this is a resource, just a regular resource, but we have added a new button to resource management called Publish to Homepage. And by now you should recognize some of these fields. So what it's done is it's creating a brand new information box with some defaults. We are thinking it might be the resource of the week. We're taking the title. And by default, we are taking a few bibliographic fields: title, author, publisher, date. You can change what will be defaulted here. We've written an excellent guide that walks you through it. Just look for this within help. And you can also specify which branches should have this. And then all you have to do is save. And clearly you see you can update if you want to do any editing now. All you have to do is save. And now we can go back here. Let me just refresh this. And you'll see another new information box. And if you click on the link, it will perform the OPAC search and bring you that box, bring you the resource so that you can, of course, see more information on it. So a really easy way to showcase one or more titles by taking them directly out of your catalog. And the last thing that I'll talk about with our information boxes is the mobile app. So if your users are using our free mobile app, they do have access to the welcome page, which means information boxes. And we're now being very clear that if a box is a type that will not display well on the mobile app, we're not going to offer it. These are plain text boxes, and they are all available, but you might decide that you don't want your mobile app users to have all of them, so you can easily just take some away, and then they will only have these 3 boxes on the mobile app welcome screen. Okay, so those are the kinds of changes that we've made for our information boxes, and a change to a new look in OPAC. We have just a couple of other things to see on the staff side that I think will be of interest. So let's go back there. And as long as we are in resources, let's talk about an upcoming exhibit that we might be having. And we're going to look in our current resources and pull together a group of materials. So let's say that we're having an exhibit in the lobby, and we want to tag some things so that we can pull them together next month. So if you use tags, you know that you could go into each one of these, or if one of them had a tag, you could click here and assign the rest one at a time. But in all cases, it's not really efficient. So we have added a new feature called bulk tagging. All you need to do is perform the search within the catalog, click bulk tagging, and it will allow you to add or, in a different circumstance, remove, but from only these. Your tag, if you have one already, choose that. If you want to make a new one, this is for my July exhibit. You can add the tag. And notice the extra help at the top. It will take effect at the time of next housekeeping. Because we've given you the ability to actually tag hundreds or thousands of resources at one time, we don't want to compromise your response time by trying to do it in real time. So there is no problem. The tags are not appearing until your housekeeping runs. It will be set by default, I believe, but you should check. It's a brand new housekeeping task called straightforwardly update resource tag. So be sure that you have it enabled if you want to do this. And if for some reason you need to see them right away and you know that there are a reasonable number, then you can just run this new task right now here. And then when you go back to your group, you will see that they are now all tagged. And conversely, if you wanted to get rid of tags not on all of a group, because then you would just use your usual tag manager, you can do a search and remove any given tag from that group. We've made a change to the copies search screen because searching by date received is a very common thing, and dates always take a little time to specify. So we've added it into the search. We hope that will help out. And the last thing that I want to show you is just a change that we've made to serials displays. So let's go and find a couple of serials. So let's just do a serials list. So the Australian, no, let's do this one. The Australian Law Journal has been received. And there is a field that is optional on the screen called Journal Holdings. And notice in this case that all it is displaying is the branch that holds it, nothing about the contents. This is dynamically created. It is not a field with data that staff add. The other option, again, let's go back to a list of our serials, and let's pick this one this time. The other option is to do journal holdings in this way, which lists each branch, and then this happens to be a complex serial, so it has both current reports and filings, and this would be the first to the last issue of received issues. There are parameters that allow you to say, do you prefer having only the branch, or would you like to include the first and last issue? And you make that decision twice, once for simple serials with a single component, and once for complex serials. So for those of you who do a lot of work with complex serials, we hope that this will get you more information and done your way on the screens. So we hope that these new features that we've added to Liberty will be of great value to you, and thank you for spending time with us today.